Welcome to this edition of Community Insider. Stay tuned. Author and poet Stan Sinclair will be our guest speaker today. He's the founder and owner of Sinclair Publications and retired insurance agent, manager, and has a bachelor's in religious education from Covington College and Theological Seminary. Stan's articles, poetry, and books have been published around the world in at least 4 countries. He's the author of numerous published books, and you're going to get to find out more about who Stan is and what it means to own one of his books. He was featured in the 2007-2008 Cambridge Who's Who Honors Edition and the International Who's Who in Poetry in 2004. That and much more is coming up on this edition of Community Insider. Stay tuned.
Hi, Stan Sinclair again. This is my office. This is my computer where I do my work on my articles and my books, where I get everything ready for publication.
Welcome to another edition of Community Insider. Join us as we travel Middle Tennessee, uncovering history and experiencing the adventure of unique stories and events coming to you inside your community.
Thank you for tuning in to this edition of Community Insider. With me is Stan Sinclair, right here at his home in McMinnville, Tennessee. It's good to meet you. How are you?
I'm doing just great. Thank you.
We actually shared a table at the Magnus Library whenever some of his books came out, and we got to know each other.
Yes.
Would you like to elaborate on some of the books that you've written that maybe are, they're like a bestseller, is what I've heard.
Well, I do have a group of books, which I've got a copy of each one of them here today. It's a series of books that have done so well that it has kind of put me on the map as an author. And I'm very thankful for that. I think I'm really humbled by the fact that these books have done so well. They're called Most Comprehensive Origins of Cliches, Proverbs, and Figurative Expressions.
Would you like to grab the first one that you found?
Yes, I will. Let me just tell you a little bit about how we started doing this.
Cool. Origins of Cliches, Proverbs, and Figurative Expressions.
Yes.
Okay, and where can they find this?
They can find this on Amazon. I have copies of it. If people from McMinnville want to get in touch with me, I can let them have a signed copy of each book or any of the books that they want.
Wow, there's so many different like cliches and different sayings in this book. This is amazing. What's your favorite saying in this book?
That would be kind of hard to do. It's like picking which one of your kids is the favorite, I guess. You know, our books are kind of like children to us. We put a lot into them, and then we come back with something that we can be proud of, and that will help people. I think that's the main thing, that we want to be able to help people with what we do. How I got started in this is back about 2009. I've been thinking about all the different expressions, proverbs, and old sayings that I'd heard all my life, and I thought, where in the world did that come from? So I decided I would write about it. I'd already been writing books anyway, and I thought, well, this is a good topic because I bet a lot of people are interested in this. So I started researching, and I got on the internet, and I found out that there's so many different explanations of where things come from. And folk etymology tells us little cute stories that are nice to hear, but they may not be where it actually came from. That may have happened, but it may not be the origin of the phrase. So I kept on studying them, and I found that so many times other sources had incorrectly identified the origins of phrases. So that really made me want to research. So I put together enough to make a small book, and when I put that small book out, I honestly, I didn't promote that first book at all. I just put it out there and put it on Facebook and let people know I had it. And it started selling.
Oh, wow.
And I couldn't believe that within just a short time, I'd sold a couple hundred copies. And I says, I may have something here. And different people started asking me, where, what about this phrase? And what about that phrase? Where did that come from? So I kept on researching until I got enough for this. I just knew that first book was going to be my final effort in identifying phrase origins.
Wow.
And I have in that one over 1,500.
1,500.
They're in small print
Wow.
at 740 pages, including the bibliography in the back. And I just knew that was going to be all there was to it. But there were still so many I left out. And although I got a lot of, put it on Amazon, and it started selling like that. In fact, Amazon announced this as a hot new release when it came out. I know that helped me. It helped me to get started with it. But people, kept on asking me about other phrases, so I went ahead and kept researching. And the result of that is over the last several years, I've been researching this now for over 10 years. And I have put out 3 different volumes, and they're all different phrases and different sayings, and where they came from. That's the best I can find. I'm human, I might be wrong on some of them. But let me tell you, I proved a lot of other people wrong on what they said.
I like this one, the movers and the shakers. You want to read a little bit from your book here?
Sure.
What are movers and shakers?
Okay. This idiom means people who are known for getting tasks accomplished. Alfred O'Shaughnessy coined the expression in the first stanza of his 1873 poem, Ode, published in Appleton's Journal. We are the music makers, and we are dreamers of dreams, wandering by lone sea breakers, and sitting by desolate streams, world losers and world forsakers, on whom the pale moon gleams. Yet we are the movers and shakers of the world forever, it seems.
Oh my gosh, that's amazing. I like that.
Thank you.
It's one of my favorites there. That's so cool. So, who are your most elaborate buyers of your book? Like, as far as who are buying your books? What's your audience?
Believe it or not, the people that buy this and use it most are school teachers, librarians, college professors. This first book was actually referenced in a doctorate thesis at Vanderbilt Graduate School. So I was really honored when I found out that it happened without even my knowledge. Didn't know the person that referenced it. I've been told by different people that it's the best book they've ever seen of its kind.
I can see that it has so many different.
Thank you.
It's amazing.
Well, that led,
cool.
These books led to the column that I do for Southern Standard called Where Did That Come From?
Okay.
And they also put it in the Smithville paper as well. But I'm just, researching is something I enjoy doing.
That's great.
Enjoy it very much.
Here's another one that I like. The eyes are the windows to the soul.
Okay.
I believe that's so true.
It is.
So, would you like to read part of this?
Want me to read it? Okay. Okay. Thank you very much. The basis of this proverb is so ancient that it is impossible to surmise the exact time and place of origin. The eyes give clues to what someone is thinking. The underlying theme of this old adage is expressed in the Bible in Matthew 6:22-23. The lamp of the body is the eye. If therefore your eye is good, your whole body will be full of light. But if your eye is bad, your whole body will be full of darkness. If therefore the light that is in you is darkness, how great is that darkness? And then down here under that, I've got Cicero 106 to 43 BC, over 100 years before the New Testament was even written, has been quoted as saying, and I've got it here in the Latin, so I won't try to read that, but the face is a picture of the mind as the eyes are its interpreter. And then it goes on to tell other references, and even in Shakespeare where he had a reference to it.
Oh, wow. The Regiment of Life, 1544, was a translation by Thomas Thayer, written sometime between 1050 and the early 12th century. Quoting from this translation, a person's thoughts can be ascertained by looking in his or her eyes. Then the circa 1591, Shakespeare used this in King Richard III, Act 5, Scene 3, line 117. To thee I do commend my watchful soul, ere I let fall the windows of mine eyes. Eye for an eye and a tooth for a tooth. That's another one that's mentioned in the Bible. I think that most people know what that one means. Let's go on to different phrases in here.
Okay.
This is so neat. Look before you
Thank you.
leap.
I appreciate that.
Lock, stock, and barrel. A penny saved is a penny earned.
Benjamin Franklin.
Really? Okay. All right. Benjamin Franklin appeared in his publication of Poor Richard's Almanac in 18th century. Wow. Were it coined today, it would likely be $1 saved. And at the very least, the point of the proverb is to encourage guarding against waste and spending that which may be laid back for a rainy day.
Yes.
So how long have you been writing?
Well, I actually, writing itself, I started doing poetry and short stories when I was in high school.
Okay.
In fact, I had my ninth grade English teacher call me in her notes to me in my annual, the aspiring poet. So that was a compliment to me. But at any rate, I did start writing then, and I continued writing things that were not books until in the 70s, when I wrote my first book and actually submitted it to a major publisher and almost had it published. Back then, you had to have something pretty good before they would even read it. And well, now they won't read them most of the time. But they read it and told me that it had some faults, that they didn't want to publish it the way it was. So I was going to go through and make changes in it. And they said, well, no promises, but we will reread it if you do that. And then I had changes in my life, and it wasn't the same anymore, so I never did redo it. But I've been writing since then, and various things, articles that I've had articles published in magazines and papers, not only in the United States but in England and Canada, and so I've been writing a long time. But I did do a study of creative writing through the University of Tennessee, so that helped me some. Helped me to kind of get my words right. But I just truly enjoy doing it.
What did you go to college to learn?
I took religious education and theology.
Okay.
And I've been teaching in churches and speaking in various religious groups since I was a teenager. So I did take that, and I got a degree. I got a bachelor's degree in religious education. But in the meantime, I had a career in insurance. I had to make money,
Yeah.
So I found out the money was in sales. I guess that's the reason I enjoy selling my books. But anyway, I was in the insurance business in sales and management for 40 years. So anyway, in the meantime, I was still writing and doing articles, and I got back into really getting serious about writing books after I did a family genealogy book that I did I just did a limited edition, printed a limited edition of those for family members and friends in 1999.
Okay.
And then in 2006, I did a book that I had published by where I had to pay them to get it published. And I had to pay them so much to get it published. I said, this is ridiculous. I said, I can do this myself. So I did it myself and started publishing my own books, and then other people wanted me to publish theirs because I formed my own little publishing company.
Wow.
So I've published actually close to 200 books for different people.
200 books?
Yeah.
Are these all locally or globally?
No, hardly any. There's a few of them that I've done locally. They're in the United States, Canada, England, Australia. I even had one author that lived in Israel.
Oh, wow.
Jewish, yeah.
That is something.
But I've done books for people all over the world.
So you're selling books all over the world, right?
Yes. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, our books are
amazing.
on all major markets and Amazon and all. Our books even sell on Walmart website. You can't go to the store and get them.
Okay.
Because our books are print on demand books. But you can't go to the store and get them, but you can order them on the website and they deliver them to the local Walmart store.
That is something else.
So if somebody wants to pick up one of my books, one of these books that we're looking at here,
okay,
they want to get that book at Walmart, all they have to do is go on the Walmart website, order it, and pick it up at the McMinnville store.
This. He's got a 3-part series here. Is there a fourth one there? What is that
No,
one?
this is the index book.
The index.
What I
okay.
did is I as people ask me different phrases, we have here in these over 4,000 expressions and phrases, and the best that we can tell what the origin of those phrases are. And then that book right there I put out because people were having to go back and forth from one book to another trying to figure out where something was, because every one of them goes from A to Z. But when you got that situation, that index book comes in mighty handy, because they can just look something up in the index book and know which book to go to if they've got all 3 books. Now I have them also on Kindle now, but the Kindle doesn't have an index.
Volume 2. Wow. This one's
volume 3.
This is volume 3. So he has a total of 3 books and an index for where you can find all of these phrases, which books, right?
And, yes, and then
Cool.
I also did another cliche. See, I've got 3 other cliche books that I've done besides these. I did 2 of them before then, leading up to this, and then I did another one that's on animal metaphors. It's just animal metaphors, and it's called When Pigs Fly. So, like somebody says, well, I'm going to do this, and you say, yeah, when pigs fly. You know? So I thought that would be a cute title for a book.
That is something.
Yeah. And that's in that little. It's called When Pigs Fly: The Humorous History of Animal Metaphors.
Wow. I see a really, really cute phrase here. It takes a village to raise a child. Their proverbial saying was popularized by a 1996 book credited to Hillary Rodham Clinton, actually primarily written by ghostwriter Barbara Feynman, titled "It Takes a Village and Other Lessons Children Teach Us." The title is credited to an African proverb, but there is no solid evidence of this, and to the other popular source claimed a Native American saying. In fact, a previous children's book also had the title "It Takes a Village," which was written by Jane Cowan Fletcher, published in 1994. You want to start here?
I will. Just a minute. Let me get my glasses.
Okay, right here.
Okay. The idea that this was an African proverb was introduced by Roscoe Pound in the introduction to the philosophy law, first copyrighted in 1922, then in 1954 by Yale University Press, page 58. Note that it was already a cliche in the United States. The African proverb, "It takes a village to raise a child," has become a cliche in current discussions about education in the United States. Since Clinton's book came out, numerous sources have claimed various tribes originated the proverb. An online group did extensive research on the subject and came up empty-handed. The actual origin remains a mystery.
How many children do you and your wife have?
Well, I have 3 children, and I had one adopted child who is deceased. My wife has a daughter who lives locally by her first marriage, and she has 2 grandchildren, and I have 14 other grandchildren, and I have a total of 14 great-grandchildren as well. So that is a lot of descendants.
It is. So they're carrying on the St. Clair name.
Some of them are, and some of them aren't, because some of them are my daughters.
Oh, how many? Okay, so how many daughters and how many sons do you have?
I had one son, and then the adopted son who's deceased, but he has 3 children.
Okay.
And one was a boy, and the other 2 are girls. The youngest one's not married, so she doesn't have any children. So the other 2 do. The other 2 have both been married and have children. But anyway, my son, though he is divorced now, he has 3 children, and let's see, how many grandchildren does he have? I have to think about that.
So your son's
Yes,
a
5 or 6.
grandfather now. That's
Oh
amazing.
my! I started having grandchildren when I was pretty young. I guess about 40, because I was 20 when my oldest daughter was born.
So how many great-grandchildren do you have?
14 great-grandchildren.
14 great-grandchildren. That's amazing. Wow. So do they come in for Thanksgiving and Christmas?
Not very often, no. They do come to visit me sometimes, or I go to visit them, depending on what's going on. This year, both my daughters from Ohio have been here, and I was up there about 2 years ago, a year or 2 years ago, and visited, and she had a kind of a family reunion. They had as many of us as you could get there. And my daughter's got a farm in southern Ohio, and she had a pile of us there, so we had a lot of fun when we had everybody that we could get together.
And that was this year?
That was, I guess it was last year,
Okay.
summer of last year, but it was a lot of fun when we were there. I've been to Georgia this year and visited my grandson and my 2 grandsons that live down there, and their children down there, their families. So they're just scattered out. I've got a son in Colorado, and the one in Minnesota that travels. He's a musician, and his wife is a teacher. The other one that's in Colorado, his wife is a teacher as well. She's a 6th grade teacher at the elementary school there. So I like teachers. My mother was a school teacher, and it's good to have teachers in the family.
That's amazing. So the teachers in your family, have any of them read your book?
Oh yeah, well, I believe they have. They read part of them anyway.
Okay.
But my mother was a teacher all the way from the time she graduated from. Back when my mother first graduated, she studied teaching, or what was called normal training, in high school, where she graduated with a teaching certificate, and she could teach school. That was in 1930. So she taught first in elementary school. She taught one-room schoolhouses, and then she went to business college later and taught in business college. And during World War II, she taught women who were training for jobs while their husbands were away in the war.
Oh, wow.
And that was an interesting thing. And she also taught adult education. And she was in Who's Who in North Carolina for adult education.
Where are you originally from?
North Carolina. I was brought up in western North Carolina, in the mountains.
Oh, wow.
And don't get me too far away from the mountains. I don't like it.
Reminds me of a John Denver song, Country Roads.
Yeah, Country Roads.
Blue Ridge Mountains. Take me
John
home.
Denver is one of my favorites back in the 70s.
Yeah.
Yep.
So what do you do now to keep yourself busy?
I'm still doing research, and I'm writing the article for the paper, and I've got other things that I'm involved with, church activities and club activities. I'm active in the Kiwanis Club. I've been in Kiwanis since 1984. So, I have a lot of things to do to keep me busy. Of course, we've got our pet children we have to take care of. But I enjoy staying busy.
Do you get to do any gardening? I saw the
Oh,
flowers
yeah,
out
yeah,
there.
yeah. That's one thing that I really do enjoy doing.
Yeah.
We've got a little garden behind the house here, flower garden out there, that all during the summer we'll plant new things or get different things going. Every year it's a little bit different than it was the year before. Got a setting area out there. So that's something I enjoy taking part of. And of course, there's always taking care of this lot. We got a fairly good sized lot here, and so I have to mow that and care for it. So keeps me busy.
So at this point in your life, what are you most thankful for?
Oh man, I'm so thankful for so many things. I'm thankful for being raised in a Christian home. I'm thankful for my parents. I'm thankful for my family. I'm thankful that I have a wonderful wife. I'm thankful that I have great children that love me and care for me, and grandchildren and great-grandchildren. I'm thankful we've got a nice place to live. I'm thankful we've got cars to drive, food to eat. I mean, what is not to be thankful for in America? People try to find things to complain about all the time nowadays. I want to find things to be thankful for.
Yeah. So whenever you're out there, sitting on your bench, out there by the flower garden, where do your thoughts lead to? What do you think about?
Well, my mind it goes round and round. I think about so many different things. I think about things I want to do. I've been able to travel a lot, for which I'm very thankful for also. We've been able to go to 10 other countries and gone pretty much all over the United States. Well, I think 40 states out of 50, that's pretty close. But I do want to do some more traveling. I think about that. I think about what needs to be done. I think about other things I want to accomplish. I've always been one that accomplishment is important to me. Every day is an important day. I want to make the most of that day. When I get to the end of that day and I can say, I feel like I have accomplished something. I feel like I've used this time wisely. Because when the day's gone, it won't ever come back. What we did with it, it's over, it's gone. It can't be done again.
I love that.
Thank you.
I love that. So if there's a message that you could send out there to people that are still young and thriving, and then there's the people that are getting into their next 30 years, what would you like to say to them?
I'm glad you said that. I had an opportunity a few years back to speak for the children over at Bobby Bay Elementary on a career day. And the thing that I told those kids that I wanted them to remember is something my mother taught me and my grandfather taught me, that whatever you set your mind to do, you can accomplish it. You just have to believe it. If you don't believe it, you'll never get it done. And if people will think about believing that they're going to do something positive with their lives, then they can do it. Don't let anything stop them. Oh, this one.
Where can everyone find your book?
Well, the most logical place to find it is on Amazon. Although, as I said, it's on all websites that carry books.
Okay.
I have a few copies if somebody locally wants to call me or get it from me. I'd be glad to let them have a signed copy of any of the books at a reduced price.
Okay.